A warm welcome to all you automotive quality professionals wherever you may be. Today we will be doing the most important APQP of your career, and of course the product in this case is you. This is literally your own personal PPAP. Good news is not a single customer can give you grief about it. It's your career, and today we are going to take a very close look at it. Hey everyone, I'm John Molesky, President of Automotive Quality Solutions. For those of you who know me, yes, I'm still dodging hurricanes down here in Miami Beach. And for those of you who don't, I've been recruiting and placing exclusively automotive quality professionals from Vice President of Quality right on down to quality engineers entering into my 25th year, which either means I really know what I'm talking about or I need my head examined. It's a question I ask myself on a seemingly daily basis. But all joking aside, quality is special. It runs in our blood because quality picked us in most cases. We didn't pick it. And all of us know just how important it is. Quality is the last line of defense for not only an amazing product, but to keep people and their families safe. In the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to work on keeping your career not only safe, but thriving. But first, how the heck did I end up in automotive quality? Well, I'm a U of M grad. I grew up in Birmingham, Michigan, complete with an AMC Gremlin parked in the garage. It's nothing, of course, that $10,000 and a decade of therapy couldn't solve. After graduation in 1990 and an almost complete recovery, I was hired by Bob Eichart of Management Recruiters in Traverse City. I have a great deal of respect and gratitude for him as my mentor who started me right off the bat in an automotive quality desk. Back in those days, without even a computer, I can still remember calling a quality manager and hear them say, "Gonna be a busy week, John. Get a Q1 audit on Monday, Pentastar on Wednesday, and next week a TFE audit." Oh, the 1990s, those were the days. Of course, QS followed and has since come and gone, but how to stay challenged, energized, and excited as an automotive quality professional hasn't, nor have my goals and guiding principles to make as high quality a placement as possible. And it all starts with understanding you, the candidate. I'm really excited today to share with you the process I use as a recruiter to really understand what's going on in your career. We'll examine why you're looking, what you're best at, what makes you happy, to all ensure a great career move, or perhaps through careful examination, no move at all. I'm also going to share with you a simple yet effective tool to make smart and sound decisions regarding your career using an effective mix of both logic and emotion. Just like automotive components, with solid upfront planning and thought, not only does your career benefit, but the rising tide lifts all boats, which in turn brings an immeasurable boost to your personal life and family. That's our end game. But first, it's on to your own personal APQP. My initial evaluation of automotive quality candidates starts out simply by asking, if you were to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most interested in making a move, and 1 being totally happy with your current company and job, where would you say you fit on that scale? It's a fantastic question, kind of like throwing a hand grenade into a foxhole, because it really makes a person jump out with a quick gut reaction. And as we all know, the first answer is usually the correct one. As I say this, I can almost hear the math going on in your heads right now. When you come up with that number, just hold on to it, because there's an additional question regardless of the number you just arrived at. What is the downside for me to stay where I am? Constantly be thinking about this as we examine your overall career situation. We'll be comparing the pluses and minuses of your particular scenario. But even while we're doing that, you need to have this app, if you will, or loop running in the background. It's your subconscious mind. The question, what is the downside for me to stay where I am, acts like an audit of your career audit. It's a reality check based upon what you know with your current position, because moving equals the unknown. And the question is always, is the risk worth taking? For we're at the very beginning of your examination, and you might find this interesting, but I don't even view myself as an auditor, rather a career doctor. Using this 1 to 10 question, I'm literally asking the same thing your doc asks. How much does it hurt? This is what I refer to as your career wound. Think about it. What does your medical doctor ask you during an exam? Why are you here? What and where is the pain? How severe is it? When did it start? And tremendously important, What, if anything, have you done about the problem? I handle career wounds in exactly the same way. For those of you who find yourself out of work at the moment, use this process dating back to perhaps your last couple of jobs, if not your last one. Life is a learning experience. Think back to when you were there. Ask yourself the same questions. You'll find this exercise will be quite helpful for you moving forward. Back to the original 1 to 10 question. If a candidate comes in between a 1 and a 4, there's really not much for me to do except offer a congratulations. You may find this surprising coming from a recruiter, but leaving your present company and starting somewhere new, even at a higher salary, brings inherent risks. In a new gig, you have to start all over, forge new alliances, try not to step on yet unseen landmines, figure out new products and processes, learn an entirely new company culture, and if that isn't enough, you got to figure out the parking lot. Being in business for a quarter of a century and working with companies who are willing to invest in talent, along with hiring managers I know well, help to reduce that risk. Regardless, when there's not a career wound, just like a real doctor, there is no need to prescribe antibiotics, do surgery, or in our case, move. I do not try to convince people to jump ship for my reasons. For example, if someone says, "Hey John, I'm a 2. The only legitimate question I can ask at that point is there any other geographic location, specific opportunity, or title sitting in the back of your mind or in a long-term goal sheet that might change you from that 2 to an 8 or 10? Have I placed people in this very situation? You bet. The reason is they may mention something like, "Well, John, I'm really happy here, but I grew up in Virginia. My wife and I have talked about the possibility to get our kids closer to their grandparents who are in the Roanoke area." Bingo. Even if I don't have an opportunity in Roanoke, they will get a courtesy call when one pops up on the radar. It's important to note that I don't send resumes without your knowledge and interest, nor do I share them with other recruiters. Your resume represents the culmination of all your efforts, blood, sweat, and tears, and I treat it as such. You really have everything to gain by simply giving me a specific set of criteria and then set it to autopilot. Enjoy your good fortune of being happy, and if your exact specs come across my desk, you'll be given the opportunity to hear about it and decide if the timing is right without advertising. Let's move on to folks caught right in the middle. When someone tells me they're a 5 or a 6, I refer to these quality professionals as the ones who are on the fence by considering a move but haven't really done much about it. They are not taking the time to scan job boards, but they're also not buying stock. Often I find with 5 or 6s that money is an object or something unsettling just happens, such as a new boss, an increase in work hours, working too many weekends. Many of them have moved, let's say, from a 2 or a 3 up to a 6. For those of you who are on the fence, take the time now to ask yourself this question. Why am I a 6 and not a 1? Or why am I a 5 and not a 10? Again, these are just subsets of what is the downside to me staying where I am. And for all the rest of you, do the same thing. Get a piece of paper out and write out the reasons of what you like about your current job situation and what you don't. Just like goals, you need to write them down. We all know that just thinking about something doesn't make your decision process any easier. I mean, imagine the look on a customer's face if you told them you'd be submitting a mental PPAP. Studies have shown, just like goals, if your thoughts, reasons, and feelings are not written down, emotion, indecision, and procrastination rule the day. Before we jump into the decision process tool, I also wanted to suggest you taking a look at the career article section of this AQSI website, which has automotive quality specific articles I've written from interviewing to negotiating and even how to ask for a raise. So if you get one, I'll just take 10%. Thank you very much. The best decision process for helping candidates, though, I've ever found was made popular by good old Ben Franklin. And not coincidentally, it's coined the Ben Franklin decision-making process. Ben suggested making decisions by dividing in half a sheet of paper, creating 2 columns. You write the pros for staying on the left-hand side and cons for the right-hand side. Come up with as many as you can think of. There's no right or wrong answer. It's what's important to you. Let your mind flow, and then when you're done, sleep on it. We're looking at an actual Ben Franklin decision model done by a candidate that I had talked to earlier this week. One of the things I wanted you to be very aware of is if you look on the left-hand column where the pros are written down, you see the bottom three. We've got love the company, enjoyable work environment, and friendly colleagues. Now, those could have been combined into one, but this person liked the company that much. These were the things that came to his mind when we were having our conversation. Well, after a night of sleep, then the individual sat down and wrote the numbers down, 1 to 100 as far as importance go. And you can see here what the total score is. So the total score came out stronger to stay and not to leave the company. And that's fine. In this particular person's case, like the 1 to 4, I pretty much left it with him. Hey, listen, if you have some strong ideas about opportunity, location, whatever that you really are compelled about, let me know and I can give you a call. Now, of course, I made notes on the person and I'll stay in touch with them over the long term, but I was just really glad to be able to help them to put it in this type of a way where you have the logic and then you have the emotion tied in together. I've saved the 7s or higher for last. Many of you who are watching this now, by definition, might be in this category. These are the folks who are not happy with their current situation and either looking or tolerating it and just allowing time to pass. For these folks, there's an old saying in the stock market that rings true. The only thing worse than being wrong is staying wrong. There are 3 aspects for the 7 or higher I look for. First, I find out their significant career wound. Then I ask, how long have you felt this way? And then finally, it's very important to find out, what have you done about it both internally and externally? Often, I'll run into quality professionals who say they're a 7 or an 8, and the main reason they're looking is because they've read the ASQ salary survey and feel they're underpaid. If there are no other significant career wounds, I immediately send them to the candidate article section of this website, which gives them advice on how to ask for that raise. Because it is not advisable to take another offer, turn in your notice over money without approaching your management first by making your case, because you are literally holding a gun to your employer's head. And in our current market, many companies are making counteroffers. But wouldn't you prefer to get the raise straight up rather than having to go through the serious action of turning in your notice, making your boss look bad, lowering morale, and showing an utter lack of loyalty? I recently had a skeptical quality engineer say to me, "Of course you're going to say that. You're a recruiter and you don't want to lose a fee." Fair enough, I said, and you are correct. I don't like to waste my time. But let's look at it through your eyes. You seem to like your present company and have just given me the lone reason of money to move. You have 2 alternatives as I see it to resolve this. Number 1, be brave and do the honorable thing. Approach your company first with a well thought out proposal for a raise using data like the salary survey, giving them a chance to act without the threat of your imminently departing. Number 2 is not to say a word to your boss, get another offer, hope for, and perhaps accept the counteroffer. If you choose number 2, even if the company ultimately counters, the moment you initially hand in your notice, the news acts like a shockwave rolling through your department. It is now on display, your willingness to pull the ripcord. How does your boss, your boss's boss, as well as your coworkers view you differently forever in that split second they hear the news, especially if you decide to come back? So how does that affect your long-term promotability at the company? If I told you how many people are gone within 6 months across all industries after taking a counteroffer, you would be shocked. Or maybe those of you who've done it or seen it done, not shocked. Remember, APQP, APQP, APQP. Like most great things in life, the real gems are when the most guts are used and we do the right thing. I can't stress it enough, do it up front. What are some other examples where things can be worked out? Unexpected travel, huge increase of hours that don't seem to go away, a new boss you're not getting along with, no clear promotability path outlined to you, because lack of growth is always a big reason that's cited to me. Some people can quantify it like, "Hey John, my boss was just promoted into the position and he's not going anywhere for a long, long time." Well, in that case, it might be time to leave. But make sure that you can quantify what you mean by a lack of growth and take it head on if you can. We all know that sitting around hoping and waiting will do you no good. As the old saying goes, if you keep doing the same things you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same things you've been getting. Be honest and true to your values. We're always better off by making things happen than waiting for them to happen. One last point I wanted to make here is that when you're dealing with the recruiter or any other salesperson, real estate, whatever your dealings may be, always ask yourself the question, is this person really listening to me? And is this person doing things that are in my best interest or in their best interest? When we've determined that it's time to make a move, the question I'll then ask is, are you more geographically focused or more opportunity oriented? So for example, do you want to move back home to another state or city? Or are you motivated primarily by opportunity and are willing to move anywhere? Or are you motivated by opportunity but must remain in your area or house because of family reasons, or you just love it there? Whatever the reason, as Snoop Dogg would say, it's all good. We're here as recruiters to serve you, to make your life better. And the harder you work, the luckier you get. Here's a final thought about career wounds. Do you have a long commute? Many people do, and rarely put a pen and paper to the true costs of gas, wear and tear, but even more importantly, the risk to life and limb. I still remember placing a candidate who had an hour and 10-minute drive one way to a tier 1 supplier as a quality engineer. When I placed him, he now had a bicycle ride to work on a nice day. What was really cool is his wife called me afterwards and said, "Thanks so much. Not only was Mike gone early and home late due to the commute, but I was worried sick on winter days when the roads were slick, since my 2 daughters and I rely on him entirely. He's got more time at home and it's safer." Is the whole point of making a move to improve your career and life, and I'm really proud to have been a part of hundreds over the last few decades. Wow, that terrific outcome is really what gets me fired up. When the candidate is happy and is doing a superb job, everyone wins. I only wish I could help more people. Now that we have assessed our career wound and made a decision to do something about it, if you've exhausted all avenues internally, need to move geographically, or have just decided it is time for a welcome change in your career, feel free to send your info over. I have provided an access portal. I think it's right here to the right of this video. There you can submit your latest resume along with the ability to provide for me information just like we've discussed. There's also a jobs section along the top where you can look at all of our openings nationwide and apply to them as well. Here, by the way, are the types of backgrounds that I represent. Number 1, you must have automotive quality background. In other words, TSVDA type environment. I place from vice president right on down to quality managers, right on down to quality engineers. Number 2, you need to be in the United States. I get a lot of emails from people that are in India, that are in China, different parts of the world. My clients do not engage us when there is some kind of a move across oceans. That just doesn't happen. So you need to be here, and you need to be in a position where a company doesn't need to sponsor you. Otherwise, they don't need us. Number 3, you must have a completed 4-year degree or within a month or so of completing one. That's very important. About 95% of the placements that we make are with degreed people. Now, if you have an associate's and a CQE, you can still send your information out. Sometimes we're able to, and we always ask if there is that kind of flexibility for a candidate, but usually companies give us really specific guidelines and they just really don't budge on it because, quite frankly, they don't want to pay us. It's that simple. And the last one is solid references from your bosses. We do check as a cornerstone of our service what you've done and making sure that we've talked to people who are in the know about how you've done the work. A lot of people in quality, as we know, tend to move around. It's hard for us to place people that have had too many jumps, but if you have a compelling story and you can come to us and really show us what you're capable of, then we can sell that to our client. So I hope this has been helpful for everyone. I wish you the very best in the future, and go automotive quality.